Hello, welcome to another video. Today, I'm talking sci-fi. I am very much a fantasy reader. If you're new here, hello, I read a lot of fantasy. But I really would like to branch more into sci-fi. Don't get me wrong, I like sci-fi. I've read a decent amount of sci-fi, but I definitely think I can do better with sci-fi. So, what I've done is I've pulled off my shelves all the sci-fi that I have on them. So this is the sci-fi that's on my shelf because I want to read it, in the hopes that this will encourage me to reach more into sci-fi, because I definitely stay in my fantasy lane, and as someone that enjoys a little bit of sci-fi, I need to do better at actually reaching for it and pulling it off my shelf. So let's go through all of the sci-fi that I own and therefore want to read. First up on my list, I have Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. It's a sci-fi classic. I need to read it. It's been on my shelf for such a long time and it's teeny tiny. It's a sci-fi classic. I feel like I have to do it. My very little understanding of this is that there's some sort of like bounty hunter that's hunting androids for parts or something, and finding a live animal is like an absolute dream. I don't know any more than that. But as I say, classic, I need to read it. So starting with that one. Next up, I have Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I also have Recursion by Blake Crouch. I would like to get to both of these at some point in my life. I'm not sure if they're more thriller than sci-fi or more sci-fi than thriller, but I think they're classified as sci-fi thrillers. There's definitely some timey-wimey stuff going on in here, and I know that G from Book Roast absolutely loves Blake Crouch, and her favourite thing is timey-wimey stuff. In this one, I'm pretty sure the guy wakes up like strapped to a table or something and he's told about his life, but that's not his life or something. But he's surrounded by strangers in hazmat suits and they say, "Welcome back." I don't know. I don't know what happens in this one, but there's some timey stuff. And I think that Recursion has a similar premise. What if you could have someone rewrite your entire life? So again, I'm getting timey-wimey stuff. At first it looks like a disease, driving victims mad with a memory of a life they never had. Sounds very similar. Ooh, a neuroscientist holds the secret to the mystery. Ooh, as people are being plagued by memories of lives they don't have. So some weird timey-wimey memory shit going on in here. I've heard fantastic things about them though, so fingers crossed I like them. Next up, I have The Extraordinaries by TJ Klune. I'm gonna call this one more of a light sci-fi. It's full of superheroes, that's the whole premise, but I think it's more so about this boy who writes fan fiction about the superheroes, and then one day he meets one of them, Shadowstar and Pyrostorm, and then our main character Nick writes The Extraordinaries, which is a really popular fan fiction. Oh, but he also wants to go on a journey to make himself extraordinary, so maybe a little bit more sci-fi than I'm giving it credit for, but superheroes. Next up, I have A Psalm for the Wild Built and A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chambers. I started A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers a long time ago and sadly DNF'd it, but I've heard fantastic things about these little novella duology, the Monk and Robot series. I don't think a whole lot necessarily happens in these books, but I know that they have been hitting people in the feels. Look at the cover of that. Look at that little robot. Adorable. Isn't it like a tea serving robot or something? Or does the monk serve tea? I don't know. It's been centuries since the robots gained self-awareness, centuries since they wandered into the wilderness, never to be seen again, centuries since they faded into a myth and urban legend. Ooh. A tea monk, the monk serves the tea, is upended by the arrival of a robot there to honour the old promise of checking in. The robot has one question: what do people need? So I think it's definitely going to be very reflective on humanity, but centuries old robots. I've heard great things, and I look forward to giving them a go. Next up, I have Born by Jeff Vandermeer, and then I also have Dead Astronaut by Jeff Vandermeer, which is like a companion to Born, not a direct sequel, but I think set in the same world with the same company. But Born is about a woman, I think her name's Rachel. Yes, Rachel, who finds a thing. It's a thing. That thing is Born. And I think Born evolves and gains consciousness and has lots of questions about what Born is. But Born could also be very dangerous. The thing about this world is that it's like this, it's kind of a dystopia. I suppose it is a dystopia. It's set in a future where like the planet has been almost destroyed by the company. Just the company. The same company that's in this one. Possibly the same company from Southern Reach? Maybe? Humans don't see humans very often. Any form of life is kind of a surprise. So Rachel takes Born in, and Born grows and evolves and is possibly a threat to the company. I have tried to read this one before a few times. Sadly, I've DNF'd it 3 times, I think, now. There is still a bookmark in there from my last attempt. I got to page 43, but it's been a while. I have since read another Jeff Vandermeer, and I feel like I'm at a point where I'm ready for more Jeff Vandermeer. I read the Southern Reach trilogy a long time ago now, and it's one of my favourites, which is why I say I do like sci-fi. The Southern Reach trilogy is sci-fi, and I absolutely adore it. I feel like I don't shout about the fact that I love that series enough. It's so weird. It's definitely not for everyone, but I really like it. So I'm really keen to read more Vandermeer and hopefully like it. So there's that one. And then Dead Astronauts as well, which I don't think it's a sequel, but I think it's like related to Born in that it's the same world with the same company. Under the watchful eye of the company, 3 rebels make their way through forces that would consume them. At stake, the fate of the Earth. Interesting. Jeff Vandermeer really focuses on like post-apocalyptic Earth, destroyed environment, things like that. It's very like, very eco-thriller kind of sci-fi. Next up, I have Only Human, which is the 3rd and final book of the Themis Files. What is wrong with me? Why haven't I read this yet? I adored Sleeping Giants, I loved Waking Gods, and if I remember correctly, the end of Waking Gods kind of had a bit of a like, oh my god, what moment, if I'm remembering correctly. So why haven't I read this? Is a good question. So I should get to it. Not only will it close out a trilogy, which would be great, but it's another sci-fi, and I've loved the first 2 books in the trilogy, so I should read it. We have a little visitor. Hello. But yeah, the Themis Files is about a research team researching the discovery of an enormous robot. It begins with a young girl riding her bike through the forest, falling into a hole and landing in the palm of a gigantic robot hand, and many years later research teams have found other parts of this robot body and are trying to work it out. I will leave it at that. It's told in like interview format, mixed media, conversations, interviews, letters, files, and the interviewer is a very mysterious character whose purpose you don't really know. You don't know like whose side he's on or what he really wants. Very mysterious. I need to read this. I'm getting myself excited about this by talking about this, so I need to read this. Next up is a similar situation with the last in a trilogy. Not a trilogy. There's going to be more, right? Psytonic by Brandon Sanderson. I'm pretty sure there's more. Yeah. It's just the last one that I have. Anyway, this feels like it's been on my TBR forever, but it can't have been on there forever because when did it come out? 21. Came out in 2021, so it hasn't been on my TBR forever, but it's been on it since then. I really loved Skyward. I did not love Starsight anywhere near as much, and I'm therefore very apprehensive about Psytonic. But follows a girl called Spencer, who in the first book she's desperate to join the flight school. She wants to become a pilot just like her father was. However, her father was deemed a traitor and a coward for abandoning, so her family is kind of looked down upon, but she has potential to be like this incredible pilot. I don't know if I want to read this or if I might just ditch the series. Has anyone had a similar experience? Like, loved Skyward, didn't love Starsight. Is it worth continuing? Because I definitely don't have the same sort of excitement for this one as I did for Only Human, for example. But it's still on my shelf, so it is a sci-fi on my TBR. Next up I have one that I know absolutely nothing about, and that is Unconquerable Sun by Kate Elliott, which is a space opera that was recommended to me by Emma, so thank you, Emma, for the recommendation and the gift as well. Yeah. One of your favourite books from 2020. I don't know what it's about. I don't know what to expect from it at all. Oh, Princess Sun is ready to come of age and prove herself, but the ambassador and the nobles have never ceased to scheme. They have plans that they need Sun removed as heir, or better yet, dead. Oh, it's sounding political fantasy, but sci-fi. Political sci-fi? Political space opera. That's exciting. This could be good. I don't really know what to expect, but I'm suddenly a lot more excited about it. Also, it kind of matches my hair. Next up, a couple of middle grades, but I have got Adam 2 and The Consequence Girl by Alistair Chisholm. Why haven't I read these yet? Alistair Chisholm wrote Orion Lost, which is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love that middle grade. The cover is just on the back here. I loved Orion Lost so much, so why I haven't read Alistair Chisholm's other middle grade sci-fis escapes me. I don't know. But what I do know is that I need to. I don't know too much about what these are about. I think this one is about a little robot boy, Adam 2, locked in the basement of a lost building for over 200 years and emerges into a world ruined by civil war between humans and AI. Ooh. Hunted by both sides, Adam discovers that he holds the key to the war. Reminding me of Descender. Giving me Descender vibes. I liked Descender. And then Consequence Girl. The world of Colony is in ruins. No one knows what caused society to begin tearing itself apart, but the secret may lie with Cora, a girl living on the mountainside far away from others. Cora possesses an incredible ability, one that can change lives in ways both good and bad. But there are people looking for Cora. She's forced on the run and must decide who she is, what she can do, and how to fix the world. So yeah, these two as well. Very excited about them. Next up, I have Calamity at Katori 5. This is a little self-pubbed one that I picked up at Yalk last summer. I don't know what this is about. Can you rise up and be a hero even when you've lived among criminals all your life? Tommy is entrusted with a special power and he has to make a decision. Fight to uncover what is off about Katori 5 or keep his head down and focus on getting a ride off of the prison planet he was born on. When he finally uncovers the secret, it just may be too late for him and everyone on the planet. This one, the opening line to it is just outstanding. As usual with this ridiculous bullshit, it came from the fucking stars. Outstanding. It's teeny tiny as well, so should be a quick read. Next up, I have The Undefeated by Una McCormack. This is a little tour novella, absolutely teeny tiny. But this is about a woman who was a warrior of words. She was a journalist, and she exposed all of the corruption across the interstellar commonwealth, shifting public opinions and destroying careers. She's causing havoc. She's retired and travels back to the planet of her childhood, partly through a sense of nostalgia, partly to avoid running from humanity's newest and self-created enemy. Because the enemy is coming and nothing can stand in its way. Mysterious. They escaped humanity's grasp and nurtured their fury. Now they're coming back. Intriguing. Intriguing. Next up, I have one that I wasn't entirely sure if was sci-fi, but turns out is steampunk, which is a branch of sci-fi, and that is Shanghai Sparrow by Guy Sebold. There's fairies in this. Otherworldly children of fairy tales and legends. But this is about a woman called Evelyn, who is a thief and a con artist, and I think she's caught. She's caught and given an option to either be transported to the colonies or go to Miss Carngrim's harsh school for female spies. So I'm pretty sure she goes to this school to become a spy, and in the process, shit goes down, I guess. Evelyn's choices could change the future of two worlds. and somehow there are fucking fairies. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this one. This is the author of Bad Gods, which was just a wild fucking ride, so I'm kind of expecting a similar thing from this. But spies, thieves, con artists, steampunk world, somehow fucking fairies. Who knows? Then I have another one that I don't really know anything about, which is surprising for how popular it is, but Iron Widow by Ziran J. Zhao. I'm amazed that I don't really know what this is about, considering how beloved it is. So many people love this and shout about how great it is. I've heard fantastic things, but I don't actually know what it's about. I know that it is, according to Chloe Gong, a futuristic sci-fi mashup of my wildest dreams, so sounds like a blast, but what actually is it? Giant transforming robots that battle the aliens beyond the Great Wall. Female co-pilots are expected to serve as the concubines of the pilots of these giant robots. Oh my goodness, this does sound very good. So our main character offers herself up as a concubine in order to assassinate her male alpha pilot because that pilot was responsible for her sister's death. She is declared an Iron Widow, the most feared pilot of all. Oh, that does sound very good. Next up is another one that I'm not convinced about this falling into sci-fi, but I have been told that it does. But we have The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Silvia Moreno Garcia. To me, this screams more like gothic historical fiction, but it's the daughter of Dr. Moreau. As in the Dr. Moreau from the island of Dr. Moreau, that, like, mad scientist. Hence the sci-fi. Because I'm pretty sure that Dr. Moreau is still in here, and the mad scientist thing is still in here. And we have the hybrids, which is the fruits of the Doctor's labour. Part human, part animal monstrosities. As alluring as it is unsettling, I love unsettling. Filled with action, romance, and monsters. So I'm not sure about where in the sci-fi category this falls, but it's about the daughter of Dr. Moreau who lives on the island of Dr. Moreau with the creatures made by Dr. Moreau, and then the son of a patron comes to the island and, like, kicks off a chain reaction, and apparently there's passion and romance and stuff. I don't know. Unsettling. I like unsettling. But yeah, I don't know where in the genre this really sits, but apparently it's classed as sci-fi. And then we move on to some comics. I won't talk about these for too long, I'll be quite quick, but I have Ascender. I'm up to volume 2 of Ascender. This is the continuation series of Descender, where robots have been wiped out. In Descender, we follow the story of Tim 22, who's this android child who holds the secret to a war between giant robots and humanity. But this is many years after the events of Descender, and the robots are gone, and somehow there is magic. I then have Invisible Kingdom, Volume 2. This is, how I describe it, is Amazon versus the Church in space. Massive corporation, massive religion, some sort of conspiracy, something ain't right in space. I am then up to Low Volume 3. The sun and the surface of the earth is incredibly toxic. We now all live underwater, but we're running out of oxygen. Who is going to venture to the surface to get oxygen, but also risk the contamination of that? And there's all sorts of weird, fucked up shit going on, and it's, like, a lot. Where we're up to in the story is exciting. I really like the first two. I don't think a lot of people have loved it from what I've seen. I did. And then somehow, Saga Volume 10, I am putting this off because I'm terrified of it. Because after the end of Volume 9, how do you come back from that? What do you do? I don't know. But yeah. Saga, if you are unfamiliar, Romeo and Juliet in space. A war between two planets. There were two soldiers that got together and had a baby. They shouldn't have. They're now on the run from absolutely everybody. And then finally, a little cute one to end us off. Zeta the Space Girl. I have 3 volumes of this. This just looks really cute. Far across the universe, from star to star, faced with monsters, magicians, and maybe new friends, an Earth girl named Zeta must find a way home. And there we have it. There is my Sci-fi TBR. I feel like it seemed like a lot to talk about, but in comparison to my overall TBR, it's not very big. How many did we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Considering I have over 300 unread books. My ratio is a little bit off there, isn't it? But I would like to branch more into sci-fi. So, if you have read any of the books that I have mentioned here and think, absolutely Jade, you need to read that right this second, let me know. Also, if you have any sci-fi recommendations for me, please do let me know those as well, because I need more. Alright, well, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, give us a thumbs up, chat to me down below, all that good stuff. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye!